Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I am C. Hope you had a terrific weekend. Welcome to the channel. And this is 3 up and 3 down, where we look at not 3 risers, 3 fallers. We're just going to wrap up the season here, look at how teams finished, look at some playoff targets, and all that kind of fun stuff here. So the regular MLB season has ended, and the playoff picture is set. There's still some work to be done in terms of wild card individual awards, MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, all that kind of good stuff here. But what I thought we would do today is just take a look at the teams that are in the playoffs, look at who may walk away with some of those individual awards, and then look at one player or two from each of the playoff teams to see if there's something to be done in the short term with this. I prefer to do buy and hold and with the long-term investing, but with Star Stock, I'd like to play around in there a little bit as well, and this is kind of how I'm gonna do the next couple of weeks here, and make some plays here. So we'll just do our homework together here. So we'll start it off with the final standings in the AL. Tampa, Houston, White Sox are in. Boston and New York wrapped up wild card spots, and they will duke it out to face one of these teams here. Toronto couldn't quite get her done but even though they had a nice push at the end of the season here. In Seattle, it was fun to see their run going 7-3 over their last 10, but losing that last game. And honestly, these guys winning, they needed some help, prevented that. But Seattle has got a very bright future. It will be fun to watch them over the next few years. Over in the NL, San Fran, Milwaukee, Atlanta wrapped up their respective divisions. LA Dodgers, second best team in baseball, finishing on a very positive note. They've been in for a while here. And St. Louis, really doing poorly down the stretch here. They lost their last 2, so this is kind of what they win, like 17 in a row or something like that to get in. So pretty incredible finish for St. Louis here. So these other teams, there wasn't much that they could have done. I think Philly had a crack at Atlanta if they could win out, and Atlanta would lose out, but nothing too ridiculous here. So anyways, these are the teams that we'll focus on. Those players still have relevance. Everybody else is in the off season, and so if there are off season targets, you can kind of start scouting them, as they will be a little bit out of sight, out of mind for the next few months here. So over in the NL, or excuse me, these are just the hitters in general, NL and AL combined. Trey Turner is leading in Fangraphs, where Baseball Reference calculates it a little bit differently, but Trey Turner is your league leader in wins above replacement, and he's your batting title winner as well. Won that one in the last couple of days. Of Vladdy Jr. second with 6.7 wins, but I think the betting markets have Bryce Harper as your favorite here. 6.6 wins, but what he did for the Phillies down the stretch to really to keep them in contention was very, very impressive. And the knock against Soto, I think, was that most of his damage came when they were out of the playoffs. Is what I've read in a few places. So not my own thoughts. I haven't looked that deeply into it here. So over in the AL, again, Vlad and Semyon, just incredible seasons here. 48 home runs, 45 home runs, respectively, with elite hitting profiles. 311 for Vlad. The future is extremely bright, as long as you don't look at him play defense here. But that weighted runs created, pretty darn impressive. But I think Shohei Ohtani is your prohibitive favorite over in the AL. So batting average isn't near this, and the home runs even he got passed by Vlad. But with the pitching, the uniqueness of his skill set, I think, pushes him over the top on that one. So all right, for the Cy Young Awards, Corbin Burns had the best season among pitchers in terms of wins above replacement. And if you look at his xFIP, he was one of the leaders there as well. Win-loss 11.5 in the playoffs. A strong case can be made with that strikeout rate, minuscule home run rate. But the betting markets do have Max Scherzer, the old man here. So strikeout rate isn't quite there. The xFIP isn't quite there. ERA is similar overall. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but 15-4, either way you go, geez, it's kind of a win-win. Zach Wheeler should be in contention as well, but with his team out of the playoffs, probably not going to get as much love as he probably should get for a terrific season. Over in the AL, you have Nathan Eovaldi at 11-9 on a playoff team. Strike rate and walk rate, walk rate's impressive. Strikeout rate, not so much. The xFIP and the ERA, kind of average here. Garrett Cole has him beat in both of those areas there. So that's my pick for the AL Cy Young. interesting. Julio Urias, we'll look at him in a little bit here, but 20-3 on the season here, but don't get super carried away. 9.5 strikeouts per game. The walk rate is pretty low, but didn't strike out a ton. That xFIP sitting in about 3.7, so he was a beneficiary of a crazy amount of run support from the Dodgers. All right, let's just go team by team, see if there's a player that we might want to take a look at for the playoffs and catch a pop. And so for short-term stuff, I like to use Star Stock. And so Austin Riley, this is the base 2019 update, and we've liked them all season here, and you're getting another opportunity in that dollar area here. When we were looking at them earlier, dollar would seem to be that support level, and with decent upside into a couple of bucks here. Now you're back for whatever reason at a dollar again. So what I'm doing is just looking at the last 2 weeks, who's been the hottest player on these playoff teams, and see if they can keep it going here. So Austin Riley, 362 average, 1052 OPS, 4 home runs, 11 runs scored, and 18 RBI. So he hasn't really slowed down at all. So I'm not sure what's going on with that price, but I think that is one of the more interesting targets on the Atlanta baseball team. He and Ozzie Albies, but I think this one looks a little bit more interesting as he streaks into the playoffs. Maybe people aren't thinking much of Atlanta's playoff prospects here without Acuna. We'll move on to St. Louis, and the hottest player on St. Louis during the streak. Goldschmidt's getting a lot of love, and he should, but Harrison Bader's been the guy over the last couple of weeks here with a 385 average, 1149 OPS, 4 home runs, 13 runs scored, and 9 RBI. His longer-term prospects, again, we've looked at him and said this is just a crazy hot streak for the most part. So, this isn't something I would go out and buy and hold or anything like that. But, in the shorter term, there's a play to be had most likely. So you've got upside kind of in that 80-cent area. Currently sitting at about 66 cents. Downside's kind of in that 50-cent area here. So if you do buy some, maybe set a couple bids in here and see what happens. See if people have a short-term memory and forget over the next day or two before the playoffs start. But there is some up. So he's kind of in the middle of his range. But gosh, if he keeps us going in the playoffs at a national stage, there is some upside on there. And I think that's one of the more interesting lower dollar, lower price point targets for the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, we will move on to the Dodgers. And we've got a few names here. There hasn't been a hotter player in baseball over the last couple of weeks than Corey Seager. So he's had a 451 average, a 1479 OPS, 7 home runs, 11 runs scored, 14 RBI. So this is a player that I am buying more for the long term as well. I think I have a few bids out here on Star Stock, and they're not quite hitting because I set them just a little bit lower. So this is the base. The 2016 Series 1 base, and you can see these prices continue to make new lows. So, I've been wrong, and I'm going to continue to be wrong if these prices go down, but I am buying Corey Seager. But if it gets down to that $5 area, maybe you can see some support. But, perhaps in the shorter term, maybe the Bs that are starting to tick up just a little bit here are the play for that one. But there hasn't been anyone hotter in the game. The Bs are the play. So that's the way I'm playing it looks like. So, so the prices are ticking up just a little bit. They're still not a bad price, probably, but yeah, he was the World Series MVP last year, so we know what he can do in the playoffs, and this is he's peaking at the right time here. So that's for me. That's the one of the more interesting plays for the postseason for the Dodgers. Trey Turner, another one here over the last couple of weeks, 434 average, 1010 OPS, 6 home runs, 15 runs scored, 15 runs knocked in. So again, he could probably get a little MVP talk as well as a playoff boost here. So $3-4, it's a pretty decent, interesting looking price with upside at least to $5 here. You see a nice buying cluster at $5, and you could see a spike. I mean, if you get a couple of them, you try and dump a few at $5, but see if you can get a pop up to $7, especially if he starts going nuts in the playoffs. Been going nuts the last 2 weeks here. If you can keep it going, maybe someone jumps on that one here. And we'll wrap up the Dodgers with Julio Urias. And you saw what he's done basically. Just from a numbers perspective, and people are just looking at the surface, 19-3 with 3 ERA. It's like wow, But this is a player that we've talked about in the past. This is worth speculation. A player kind of in that 25-year-old range that's doing what he's doing. It's like, yeah, this is worth the speculation. And so I've done some there, and they're starting to catch some bids here. So the Bs haven't moved a whole lot, so maybe that's the way to play that one here. But gosh, if he comes in, lights out for relief or something like that, you could certainly see some run here. So I don't know about the A's anymore, but the Bs present a pretty decent opportunity where you can make it up to that $1.50, $2 level or something like that. But if there's a pitcher that stands out, they could go deep in the playoffs, and he might be the guy. So Kershaw's, is he hurt now? So he may have to step up here, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. All right, let's look at another team here. The Giants, the best team in baseball, right? Let's give them some love here. And it's kind of funny, they just came together as a team. Over the last couple of weeks, they've actually scuffled just a little bit here. So you have Brandon Crawford, who would probably be the guy there, but Buster Posey's been kind of their horse over the last couple of weeks here with a 341 average, 751 OPS, no home runs, 5 runs scored, 9 RBI. So they had enough of a lead that they were able to limp in the playoffs. So I'm not going to doubt them anymore. I doubted them earlier, and they're in the playoffs, and so it's like, all right, I'm not going to bet against them. But if they're scuffling a little bit, who knows here? But Buster Posey, the Star Stock A, seems like $30 is the price, and so a lot of people are picking him up here. So not sure that's at resistance here. His longer-term prospects are actually pretty good, so if you want to buy it and hold it. But sitting at resistance, I don't know that there's much I would be doing with that one. And I'm sorry, I couldn't find much in the way of an interesting play for the Giants. Chris Bryant, maybe. His prices continue to make some new lows, but he's been kind of a dud over the last couple of weeks. So if he gets going in the playoffs, maybe a pop, and maybe Chris Bryant is the way here. All right, from Milwaukee, Luis Urias was your guy, but I want to still go with Corbin Burns. This is a guy that I like, continue to pick up shares of here. So he's been incredible for the whole season here, and you can see that his 2019, what is that, the Series 1, sitting around $1.40. So if it gets down to that dollar area here, again, it continues to trend lower. So I like him in that dollar area, $1.50 area here. So if you're able to get him in there, people have been willing to pay more than that as of late. So it seems like an interesting play here. So we'll see how deep Milwaukee can go into the playoffs. It might be a tough one for them, but they've done it as of pretty recently here. So, and Burns is the guy, along with the rest of that pitching staff, really, that's gonna lead them deep if it does happen. And so that's one of my favorite plays. And you get the added kicker if he's just an awesome pitcher, and could be for the next for the foreseeable future here. So, all right, for the Yankees heading over to the AL, Gleyber, we know about Aaron Judge. He was kind of your big dog leading the way for the Yankees down the stretch here, but Gleyber Torres, but he's not an unknown quantity, and his prices are up there a little bit. So if you want to find something a little bit cheaper, Gleyber Torres has hit 313 with an 98 OPS with a pair of home runs, 8 runs scored, and 6 RBI over the past couple of weeks to help with that push here. So kind of forgotten about, rightfully so. He's had a horrible season, but the last couple of weeks he is heating up at the right time at least. And you can see a lot of buying in his Star Stock A's at $250. Now I think that's just expensive in general. For players, for a base card at $250, you need to be a decent player for that. But he's a Yankee; they're going to have center stage. They're going to be in prime time, and if he starts hitting a couple home runs and keeps us going a little bit in the playoffs, your risk reward sets up probably pretty favorably for that card. So I think Gleyber is at least one of the more interesting targets for the Yankees. Over on the Boston Red Sox, Kyle Schwarber's been the guy over the past couple weeks. 345 average with a 1284 OPS, 3 home runs, 10 runs scored, and 5 RBI. So he was incredible during the start of the season, getting a lot of love here. And then as he's got injured, kind of forgotten about, as he's coming back, he's playing terrific right now. So this is a guy for the long term. I'm not so sure, but start looking at that $1.50 area for Kyle Schwarber if the Bo Sox can go deep into the playoffs. Now if they get bumped in the wild card game, then you're probably looking at $1 or something like that. So again, you have to manage your risk and be willing to get out quickly on these. But that may be one of the bigger targets for the Red Sox. There's other players that I like on the team, obviously Devers and things of that nature, but they're more of a known quantity, and those prices are up there just a little bit. So try to keep it cheap and have some fun here. So Tampa Bay, Brandon Lau going nuts over the past couple of weeks. Obviously Wander Franco as well, but people are paying up for that one. So let's go for the cheap guy here. 364 average with a 1222 OPS, 5 home runs, 3 of them coming on Sunday at Yankee Stadium. 9 runs scored and 14 RBI. So we had him as a guy that might bump up his average even if the home run pace falls off kind of at midseason, and he's done exactly that. That average has come up, and the home run pace didn't fall off as much as maybe I thought. So he was having a nice push here, and a lot of buy coming in the 50-cent range here. So Tampa, your best team in the AL, is able to make it through a round or two here. He and Wander are going to be a couple of the guys along with the pitching, that are going to get some love here, and I think that that sets up pretty nicely for Mr. Brandon Lau. And over in Houston, Kyle Tucker, who's been a beast all season and has really been a monster down the stretch here. 277 average with a 1,000 OPS, 4 home runs, 6 runs scored, and 9 RBI. And I like him for the long term as well. So you get that added bonus. And for whatever reason, his base guard's down around $1. This is a guy that could really be top 15, top 20 next year as well. So again, you get that kind of that longer term kicker. Houston just not getting a lot of love, but if he goes off in the playoffs, I think people will not be able to deny him any longer here. So let's wrap it up here with the White Sox. Tim Anderson has been a beast all season. So and over the last couple of weeks, he's just really kept it going. 392 average, 1023 OPS, 3 home runs, 9 runs scored, 8 RBI. And just doesn't get a lot of hobby love here. So doing all right here. So $18, $18 to $20, kind of your upside, $20, $21 maybe. Your downside is maybe in that $10 range. So sitting right in the middle of the range. So I don't know how much there is to do with that one. So I think we can come up with a little bit more of an interesting name here. And it's a name that you've heard me talk about in the past. But, I think it's fine, but just because your risk reward is so even, I don't have a lot of conviction on what to do there. But Dylan Cease is a pitcher that I like quite a bit here. He finished in the top 10 of all pitchers this year. He's just an incredible season. Pretty young guy, and if you're again speculating on pitchers, I think you want these young guys that are showing something already. So Urias and I think Dylan Cease as well, setting up pretty interesting here for 14 cents. So again, if he has a really big game, he and Giolito are kind of the horses there. If they have some pretty big games, they're gonna get seen, and you could see some chasing on those cards. And so it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you're able to get him 14, 15 cents and up around 20 or 30 cents that you can get out, that's some quick money to be had. So that's what I got for you. Appreciate your time, and it'll be fun to watch the baseball postseason go here, and I'll keep you appraised of my thoughts as best as I can. So have a great rest of the day. I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will talk to you later. Take care. Bye.